Ocean Labs. Deep ideas. Simple knowledge.
Today, we're going to take a look at a project in Rajasthan, India that's tackling one of the biggest, most stubborn problems in clean energy. So let's dive right in.
I mean, it's the fundamental question, isn't it? Solar power is an absolute game changer, but its biggest weakness has always been the moment the sun goes down. And that one problem is exactly why the project we're exploring today is so incredibly important. And yeah, that weakness, it leads us directly to what's known in the industry as the solar power paradox. It's this central conflict that's right at the heart of trying to generate all our energy from the sun.
Okay, so this slide just lays out the problem perfectly. During the day, right, solar panels are just flooding the grid with electricity, sometimes way more than we actually need at that moment. But then, as the sun sets, everybody heads home, turns on their lights, their TVs, and demand skyrockets right as solar production drops to zero. This mismatch forces the grid to fire up other power plants, usually fossil fuel ones, just to fill that gap.
So how do you solve a paradox like that? Well, it's not a simple fix. It requires a completely new way of thinking, an entirely new energy blueprint that could honestly change everything.
And here it is. This is that new blueprint in action. Out in Rajasthan's Bikaner district, the Pugal Solar Park is not just another field of solar panels. Nope, it is a fundamental reimagining of what a solar power plant can actually be.
First off, let's just talk about the sheer scale here, because it's mind-boggling. We are looking at about 2,450 megawatts of solar capacity. To give you some perspective, that's enough juice to power millions of homes. This is a massive, massive operation by any standard.
But look, this number, this is the one that truly changes the game. Nearly 6,400 megawatt hours of battery storage. You see, this isn't just some afterthought or an add-on. It is a core part of the design, built to match that massive solar generation. It's how tightly these two things are integrated that makes the whole system work.
And you can bet, an ambition this huge comes with a pretty hefty price tag. We're talking about an investment of over $2 billion. That's a figure that really signals just how significant and how serious this new model of power generation is.
So how does a project like this even get off the ground? Well, this gives us a quick snapshot. It's a hybrid model, right? Mashing up solar panels and gigantic batteries. A state entity comes in and develops what they call plug-and-play infrastructure. So things like roads, grid connections, all on government land. This takes a huge amount of risk off the table for private companies, which encourages them to come in and build. It's a really smart setup.
Okay, so the big question is, how does this actually work in practice? How do you effectively bottle up sunshine to use long after the sun is set?
You know, this analogy just absolutely nails it. The whole facility basically acts as a giant power bank, but for the entire grid. Or think of it like a solar energy savings account that you can draw from whenever you need it, especially at night.
And the process itself is actually beautifully simple. So, step 1. During the day, the solar panels crank out electricity for everyone to use right away. Step 2. Any of that power that isn't needed immediately gets funneled into charging those enormous battery banks. And then, step 3, after sunset when demand starts to climb, the whole system flips and the batteries push that stored clean energy right back into the grid. Simple as that.
Now, this whole cycle gives solar power a new, absolutely critical characteristic. It becomes dispatchable. And that is a term you really need to know. It just means the power can be turned on and off on demand whenever the grid needs it, just like a coal or natural gas plant. This transforms solar from this kind of flaky, unpredictable source into a firm, reliable power provider. For renewables, this is the holy grail.
And when you finally make solar power dispatchable, the impact isn't just technical. Oh no, it creates this massive ripple effect that spreads across the environment, the economy, and all of society.
And you can see those ripples broken down right here. Environmentally, you're avoiding over 200,000 tons of CO2 every single year. That's huge. Economically, you're pulling in over $2 billion in investment. And on the ground, for people, it's creating more than 1,000 local jobs. That is what you call a win-win-win.
You might be asking, okay, this is great, but why is it all happening now? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is that the cost of these giant batteries has just plummeted recently, and that makes the whole financial structure viable. You have these long-term, 25-year agreements to buy the power, which gives investors the certainty they need. Plus, it helps reduce something called curtailment. That's when grid operators literally have to tell a solar plant to shut down because it's making too much power. Instead of just wasting that precious energy, storage lets you save it for later.
So when you put all of these pieces together, you realize we're not just looking at a new power plant. We are witnessing the dawn of truly dispatchable solar energy.
I mean, this is the fundamental shift, right? Pugal is proof that solar is no longer just an intermittent, sunshine-only resource. It can now be a foundational, reliable, around-the-clock power provider for the grid.
And because of that, its importance goes way beyond India. Pugal is a working, scalable blueprint. This exact hybrid solar plus storage model can be copied and pasted anywhere in the world that has good sunshine, paving the way for a real global transition.
And this quote just says it all really. For decades, the big dream has been a grid powered 100% by clean energy. The big missing piece was always reliability, making renewables just as dependable as fossil fuels. This project, this is that crucial step forward. Which leaves us with one final massive thought. By solving this problem of intermittency, projects like Pugal are making one heck of a compelling case. So you have to ask yourself, is dispatchable 24/7 solar the final critical piece we need to complete the clean energy puzzle? The answer to that could very well define our energy future.